AI agents are replacing human workforce end to end.
Even in our home, moms are using ChatGPT.
I think everyone in the industry right now is trying to figure that out of where it's going.
We can't sit here and think of the use cases that people around world are thinking.
So without AI, we can't do any work.
I think business leaders will have to start thinking of such scenarios in their own domains.
It is going to be as big as the internet actually.
The world is moving towards AI, and there is no stopping about it. So agentic QA will evolve. So that will come and replace the regular QA process. After 2022, it is like exponential growth, what we see. It's going to continuously grow. We are going to achieve that artificial intelligence sooner.
GenAI. Hello and welcome everyone to this podcast today, Making GenAI Work for Businesses. Eucloid Data Solutions is a full stack data consultancy. We do everything from data engineering work to making sense out of data for our customers and building GenAI agentic solutions. With me here today is Raghvendra Kushwaha, founder and CEO of Eucloid. Selva Krishnamurthy, he is the head of artificial intelligence at Eucloid. And I am Siddharth Lakeda. I head the business development for generative AI at Eucloid Data Solutions. Let's dive into the questions. Thank you, Raghvendra. Thank you, Selva, for being here today.
Thank you, Sid.
So, Raghvendra, I want to start with you. We graduated out of college long time ago, right? It's been 20 years plus for both of us. So even when I was in the engineering college, right, we had all neural network and everything was there, and artificial intelligence was real. It was not like just conceptual. What has changed that makes such a big hype? In the last couple of years, everyone's just been talking about AI. What has really changed in the last couple of years?
Thanks, Ed. Great question. And before that, pleasure being on this podcast, and thanks for all the setup. Now, coming to your question, and I distinctly recall during my IIT days, we used to have a subject and artificial intelligence, what I don't recall exact name of the subject, but I recall very well reading neural networks as a concept, right?
Correct.
So it's not like that AI has come up very suddenly. However, few things changed which led for this sudden explosion or boom of AI, you can say. I can pinpoint 2-3 things. The first thing is that until 22-23, we were talking about AI in terms of predictive AI, prescriptive AI, or diagnostic AI, right? But the GenAI term, that has evolved in last 2-3 years only, where you can synthesize the new output, new text, new image, new video, and all those things, right? So that is one fundamental change that has happened. The second has been more gradual, is that immense improvement in the processing power, right? Before that, why these GPTs and all those come? Because now we have GPUs which can process those enormous amount of data, right? And that has allowed them to behave, get trained on the millions and billions of the parameters, as we keep hearing. That was the second change. And third was, before that, in terms of AI, we were talking about the automation. We were talking about the rigid rules which AI will follow. If you want to automate something, it will do it for you, right? But the discretionary decision making wasn't there. So it wasn't AI that can take human-like decisions, right? Looking at the patterns and all those things. And so that has changed things completely. That has been the game changer when you have AI which can look at the past data, think like human, can make decisions like humans, and which has given birth to enormous amount of possibilities, new business ideas, and all those things. And that got people thinking that how I can use this new capabilities of AI in my business in solving my own problem, actually. Yeah, that's how I think that is why we see that deluge of everything AI around us.
LLMs and generative AI is definitely a seismic shift as far as AI is concerned. But the previous versions of AI were restricted to businesses, so to say, B2B. right? And predictive analytics and all that. A normal person was not really exposed to it, though that person was being impacted, right? Was being profiled and was being impacted, but was not really exposed to it. But now, with generative AI, the power of AI has come, it's become democratized, so to say, right? It's come in the hands of people at large, so they can experience it firsthand, right?
Yeah,
What-
that is right. So to add it in a simple phrases, right? We can make it. It used to be a novelty earlier.
Mhm,
Then it started slowly became a commodity.
mhm.
Now it's a necessity. So without AI, we can't do any work.
Correct.
So even in our home, moms are using Chat GPT to finally cater the dishes, and everywhere we see it has become a necessity. Everyone is aware of Chat GPT, Gemini, and Claude these days. They have this tool installed in their handheld devices. So
Absolutely, yeah.
the world is moving towards AI, and there is no stopping about it.
Yeah, yeah. So, Raghavin, this question is for you. So, on the one hand, there are, like, as Selva mentioned, names like ChatGPT and Claude. So, on the one hand, there are like these new age big organizations working on AI, like OpenAI and Anthropic. And on the other hand, there are like these traditional big tech firms, right? Deep big tech firms like Google and Amazon and all those firms, and Microsoft, investing heavily in AI. So, where is the play for someone like Eucloid in all of this?
Right, right. I think this is question that we keep debating ourselves when we define a strategy of Eucloid, that how do we fit in all this ecosystem that is evolving actually. The way I see it is, I mean, this world going to have two kind of people going forward. One is who build LLMs or Gen AI, and the others who use Gen AI or LLMs, right? And from Euclid side, we have no aspirations to get into the first category of people who build LLMs. From my mind, I'm very clear. I'm going to be the one who are using LLMs to develop business applications on top of that. Okay, so my positioning is very clear that we'll translate these LLMs and Gen AI in the business applications. I aspire from the Euclid perspective to give LLMs and Gen AI in the hand of business users. I want to build such applications that the intermediaries between LLMs and business users go away. Okay, so and I believe that when you take technology to the business users, that is a gap that will fill in. To articulate more in tangible terms, look at any industry or business process. So there are 6 different things which Euclid will do for the businesses. The first is that you will look at your processes, and then where is the opportunity for AI intervention. We have trained eyes, so we can advise exactly what is the transformational roadmap looks like. That's the first part. The second is that which LLM will work best for you, right? I mean, and we being consulting firm, we are not have bound to use any specific LLM. We can try out, as we know our teams keep trying different LLMs whichever come, right? I mean, so we would be in position to advise for this specific use case which LLM is going to work best for you. And then comes the stage of contextualization and configuration of those LLMs, right? I mean, and LLMs, we all know, is not going to give you the direct answer for your specific context. They need to be trained on your documents, your images, your voice, and all those things. So that is the third thing where Euclid will fit in. The fourth thing would be the integration. That is huge actually, because all we see on the POCs, a chat window or something like that, but business would need end-to-end application. So whatever we are developing these models, everything had to be integrated in the existing business applications. The fifth is the testing of, and which is, these are some things which people don't envisage when we talk about AI. But I believe the testing cycles are going to be almost as long as, if not more, as they used to be in SDLC. Unless you have tried and tested everything, you can't move the things in the production actually. The key difference is when you do the POC or what you see, they are the good situations. But we are not talking about production is not only about the good situation. We have to have the best cases, worst cases, and those have to be solved actually. So testing is going to be as long as it could be. And the last part is the customer success, how you are training your business users on using AI in these business applications. So consulting firms like Eucloid, and there are a lot of those, that's where the gap is, and that's where they can fill in.
Correct.
Yeah, that's my take. And I'm very convinced and about
On the
this.
testing part, I feel that maybe the testing of GenAI applications would, definitely in terms of proportion, development effort versus testing effort, definitely in GenAI applications, I think testing will be a disproportionate part of the overall effort. I was just talking to someone yesterday and I got realized that in a traditional software engineering project, right, to be able to test it, you had to actually wait out for 12 weeks, 14 weeks. Only after the project was at a certain level could you actually start testing. Otherwise, you couldn't test.
Yeah.
But in a GenAI project, you can actually maybe start testing for the second week or something, right? So
Exactly.
it becomes the testing, and maybe Selva can throw some light on that. But I think testing is very important, and it's maybe a little tougher compared to a regular software engineering project.
As you rightly mentioned, so testing is going to be very, very challenging because earlier software testing used to be assertion based. So if I say an output is Boolean value true or false, it is true or false at any case. But now with the agentic world, it is contextual based also at certain times, right? So there is high chance of doing guardrail injection or like a SQL injection or some sort of hacking is possible, and people by mistake they start putting in some certain credentials in the system because vibe coding became a new norm now. So GenAI has the practice of just inserting all the credentials within the code. So there is no clear review process. There is no clear quality assurance process yet defined. So agentic QA will evolve. So that will come and replace the regular QA process, because now there is nothing as assertion. Somebody GenAI will give you like there is a possibility this could be true, and our agentic system has to say it might. So now two agents are interacting. This becomes A to A protocol, agent to agent interaction. So that's how it's evolving. We will talk about it later.
Yeah, sure.
Right. So I'll say before we move on, two more points I'll quickly make. Where your question that where Eucloid organizations can fit in. The another point was that these while the consumer based or wide consumer based, something like Chat GPT, what using and all those things, they will continue to be dominated by the same players. But the building the business applications, they are specific to any specific use case, any specific industry. Of course, that has to be done by the consulting firms, which will customize those applications, maybe for healthcare industry, maybe for marketing and all those things. The another point is that we need to build business applications so that they'll interact with, and I'll explain that with an example. While it is very common that you can upload your documents on the Chat GPT and ask questions from those, right? I mean, but organization of the whole content, the role-based access, the enablement of that, so that you have removed the old document, you brought the new documents, right? I mean, the correction on these documents and all those things. So whole this layer of application needs to be built on top of that before it can move to the production. So build such those layers of the applications which will allow business users to talk to LLMs.
Okay.
Amazing.
So moving on, Salva, I mean, I know that you've been very passionate about trying out different things, and with your team, anything new comes in the AI, you are the first one to go and try out what accuracy, what they can do. So how you see this landscape has changed in last few years? What kind of trends you have seen?
So Raghu, like you mentioned, you also read about, in your college days, you read about neural networks, right? So the transition happened, at least the fast moment or a fast transition and adoption within the software industry happened in the pre 2010 around. So it was like decision trees, right? They started building something like a rule based engines, and it can make certain decisions in a pre-computed way. So, but it was very narrow at that time. It was able to make only like thousands of decisions, like thousands of if and else loops. Then a small minor variation, if there is 1,100th variation, right? So it will start breaking. So it was brittle. Then after that, 2012 and 13, that's when this deep learning started coming. So people started working around the image recognition and other stuff using RN and CNN modules. So that is when all this facial recognition, the speech to text models, all they started evolving in this period, 2012 to 14. Then around this 17 or so, Google 16 and 17, Google started introducing BERT models, transformer architecture, and they had started building the BERT models.
Yeah.
That paved way for the contextual understanding of a language, English language.
Right.
That was the initial Kickstarter for GPT-2 and 3. So OpenAI adopted that architecture. They started building GPT-2, GPT-3, which was, they were in the mode of open sourcing it. 2018 or so, they completely became independent. And in 2022, as we know, it is undeniable. They are into multimodal. Not only them, everyone adopted. Gemini adopted, Claude adopted, Mistral, Perplexity. There were so many companies who came in. After 2022, it is like exponential growth, what we see. It's going to continuously grow. So we are going to achieve that artificial intelligence sooner. But at this moment, we are in this multimodal era, agentic era, where
Right.
we play around with stuff.
Right. Excellent.
Correct.
Excellent.
I understand some of what you're saying, not all of it, can't follow everything. But I remember that day vividly when I uploaded my photograph on Facebook, and it started auto tagging my friends.
Yes.
And then I realized that, they have actually cracked it. So what I could understand from my limited understanding of neural networks and all is that now they have enough number of photographs to be able to tell who is who. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that was a great understanding for me, and I could understand it because I come from a computer science background, right? But I think for most of the other people, that would have hit them when Facebook was or YouTube was showing them only the kind of content that they wanted to see.
Exactly.
Or ultimately when GPT came, right? So yeah, but yeah, that transition as a user also is quite evident how things have changed.
Yes.
Right. Right.
So, Sid, to top to that, what do you see the use cases that will be implemented widely in GenAI?
So Selva, actually, that's a very good question with a very indefinitive answer, so to say. I think everyone in the industry right now is trying to figure that out of where it's going. But there are some general patterns. I think the very easy pickings, I would say, that one could observe within one's industry, right? One would be specifically where there is a human being sitting, right? And that human being is interacting with 2-3 different IT systems which are not connected with each other, right? Disparate systems, unconnected. And this person is maybe taking some decisions or consuming that information and passing it on further, and maybe not taking very high value added decisions, but is a part of some business process, right? So for example, let's take the case, I think the customer care, right? Customer support is a classic example of that. So you have a CRM system, you have incoming calls, you have incoming emails, etc. that land into the system, but that CRM may or may not be, say, connected to your core systems. For example, in banking, so is it connected to your core banking system? Or in a telco, is it connected to your core telco system, right? So there is a person, you call the call center, there is a person who has your information, and that then information, that person puts you on hold, puts your information in a different system, right? Pulls out that information and then gives you back some information, which if these systems were talking to each other, or there was an intelligent AI based system which could sit between these systems, could be done seamlessly without putting you on hold, etc. Right? So that's an example of customer care kind of a thing. Similar example could be there in, say, something that we implemented in an new insurance policy approval system, right? As a vehicle is being insured and the policy breaks, right? Then you have to, in that case, before you issue the policy, you have to click a photograph of the vehicle's condition, etc., and you have to put it somewhere. Again, some human being is going to look at that photographs and forms, etc., and then consume it and then pass that information to the next system. Again, that's a classic case for agentic intervention or AI based intervention. So I think business leaders will have to start thinking of such scenarios in their own domains, right?
That's
And there is no limitation, I believe, as far as technology is concerned, of why it can't be done, cannot be done. What do you think on that?
That is absolutely right said. So there would be certain industries
Huh.
which is still legacy, which is people are sleeping on, or it's moving very, very slow in terms of technology. So one such industry is the logistics.
Correct.
The logistic industries has been moving very slow, and it to disrupt that industry is actually very challenging. But with AI, all the manual work can be cut down. Still, there are a number of manual work that can be cut down.
Yes.
And insurance is like very fastly they are adopting, and
Correct.
especially the Indian banks, right? Indian banks are all AI powered. They are much better when compared to the other world banks, even compared to US. We are moving at a much faster rate. The banks are adopting the AI, and the insurance companies are adopting to AI. So what do you think, Raghavendra? There are many other.
I think the use cases are unlimited actually, and it is pretty exciting and mind-boggling to see the amount of brain width is going in developing business applications on top of the GenAI and LLM technology. I mean, you look at any data on all the VC money, 90% of the VC money is going on the startups which are developing business applications. I'm not talking about the core technology, who are building the business applications, solving specific use cases on top of this LLMs and Gen AI. You go to the far off industries, and when we talk to different industries, the way thought process is evolving, the kind of use cases they come up with, we can't even think sitting here. And couple of days ago, I met on production house which produce those television serials, etc. They were asking out how we can use the product placement and monetize that using Gen AI. So I mean, we can't sit here and think of the use cases that people around world are thinking. But it is crazy the way people are coming up with the ideas to build the use cases using Gen AI.
Absolutely. So we are on it, Raghavendra, I just wanted to pick your brains on what do you think, how big is this opportunity going to get? You know, how big can Gen AI become in a few years? What's your thought on that?
Yeah, I think I'm totally on this AI bandwagon. And it's not I'm getting the ride, but see, I've classified things in the way I saw those technology revolutions in my lifetime, around 45 years. I would classify three main plots, and then there are subplots actually. The three plots one is the computer, which came in the 80s, and then my first exposure to that technology was railway reservation systems and all those things.
Correct.
That changed things. Then second was the internet, which started coming up in 95 around that, and this thing. And third is mobile. I call them as the main themes because these evolutions change the business models, right?
Correct.
I mean, there are companies which were forced to change their business model, their product, everything, and companies which couldn't change, they perished.
Correct.
And new companies evolved just because of these new evolutions happened, right? I mean,
Correct.
like internet, we all know that it it started slowly, but eventually by 2010, everything was on internet. If you don't have internet, all SaaS applications, all those came, right? I mean, and then mobile, we know all those things. Today, Amazon, I mean, you can't imagine if we don't have that mobile evolution, Amazon would have been what it is.
Absolutely.
Google would have been because Google took the second evolution, right? That internet one.
Correct.
But Amazons and all those companies were the third evolution. So these are the main plots. And there are subplots like you can say cloud, SaaS, social, right, and data, right? I mean, so these are the subplots which were kind of came into existence because of those three big seismic shifts in the things, right? I mean, I would put AI in the first category. It is going to be as big as the internet or mobile was actually, and we have just started. The full potential will come in play, but it is going to shift the business models of a lot of companies actually. They have to change their business models, the way they reach out to their customer, the way what their products are, and all those things. So I'm fully aligned with this, that we going to change things the way internet, computer, or mobile changed. So that is one thing. Her one key thing that is yet to happen, that and this is that's what I observed, that when Google came, Google didn't become big because it was being used for search by a lot of people actually. The reason was they identify how to monetize that, and that was the marketing and advertising, right?
Correct.
I mean, I don't think Google would have become as big if they had not cracked that advertising to generate dollars actually, right?
Correct.
I mean, and one thing which is not happening as much in the case of AI yet, it will happen, is most of the AI solutions are focusing on the bottom lines as of now, right? And we keep talking to a client and they'll say, hey, how it will save money for them. Unless we develop some applications which are helping with the top line,
Correct.
that's where the action happens immediately, right? I mean,
Correct.
when you are saving the bottom line, it takes time. They are going, okay, profitability come down by some decimal point, that's fine, right? I mean, that will not expedite the adoption unless there are some applications which are going to help with the top line, right? And as happened in the case of Google, right? I mean, because they started, people are able to sell more because they are on the Google, right? I mean, so those kind of products have to be evolved on the basic of Gen AI, and when that happens, it will be much faster progress than what we are seeing as of now. But I think it is going to change everything, the way we do go about doing business, go about doing things. It's going to be pretty big.
Correct. That I think is a wonderful answer, quite comprehensive. I think I am even more sold on AI in terms of seismic shift. I would want to categorize it at the level of, say, industrial revolution. Say in late 1800s, right, late 19th century, we had industrial revolution, which completely transformed the way in which manufacturing used to happen. And now maybe a Gen AI coming in will transform the way in which knowledge work used to happen, but even manufacturing is going to get impacted, because what I understand is that the next wave of Gen AI adoption would be integration of Gen AI into hardware. And once that happens, it's also going to impact a lot of other things which are beyond knowledge work. So manufacturing and physical work and God knows what. So again, possibilities are unlimited, right?
That's right.
Okay, so Salva, I think we talked about all great things about AI and all those things. But at the same time, there is another human angle, and people are a bit concerned about that as well, right? I mean, which is about how it is going to impact the employment. Do you see that possibilities where AI agents are replacing human workforce end to end, and then which is not the social impact that you want to happen on society, right? I mean, so how do you see, I mean, do you see that AI agents are replacing humans? What is your perspective on that?
Actually, that is the biggest fear that everyone has currently. All the top line, the middle line, and bottom line. But the honest answer is no. AI is not going to replace the job, but it is going to replace certain segments of the job, which are repetitive, which are rule based. For example, like we spoke earlier, the QA work, the manual QA will be replaced by agentic QA. The DevOps work will be replaced easily because AI can now write fantastic Terraform code. But there is a uppercut or upper limit where we have to stop AI. So always a human's supervision is required to have a controlled AI environment, because we cannot let it. It will lead to cost implication. So we will see stress in the market, that it is going to do a dynamic shift in various roles. We'll see a stress, then the job explosions we'll see. Like it is going to double or triple the number of jobs that we currently have. that is the ground scenario, Raghu. Sid, would you like to add?
So yeah, Selva. So as I said, I equate this change, this shift that we are seeing to industrial revolution, right? And as there were social and economic upheavals post industrial revolution, we'll see something similar. But eventually, industrial revolution increased our standard of living. The GDP grew, the consumption grew, and there were more jobs and better jobs that got created. So I also see low value jobs getting phased out here, especially where the agency of being a human being, right? We are humans, so we need to be able to take responsibility, we need to be able to take calls. So those things that are not happening, where people are just simply following a set rule, will definitely get eliminated. But having said that, I also believe that this is going to create immense opportunities for entrepreneurs, right? So for example, earlier, even 10 years ago, getting a POC for your startup was a costly affair.
Right.
You had to have at least 5, 6, 7 people. You had to pay them either in equity or in cash, and then work for 6 months, a year to get a POC out.
Right.
And then you could go to an investor.
Right.
That cycle, I think, is going to get shortened significantly. If you are someone with idea and you are enterprising, maybe with maximum one more person or something, you can create a POC and go to an investor today. So we will see a huge explosion in entrepreneurs coming up, and that consequently should produce some jobs. So all those jobs will be high value jobs. So yes, as a society, we will have to maybe change our how education is happening, and empower our children to be more responsible and entrepreneurial, stuff like that. But yeah, I ultimately see it moving us in a positive direction.
Awesomely articulated, Sid. You did that fantastic. So I will just add one stuff. Over the weekend, right? So I don't know anything about iOS or Android, and I'm very new to UI and UX development, right? But over the past 2 days, I was able to build an app, iOS app, just using Firebase AI
Wow.
Studio, which is Google's open source studio, similar to Lovable or Cursor, right? So this is what AI has brought in. Like, I can debug code, but I can't write code. So with what I did with vibe coding, I was able to quickly debug, materialize something in a couple of days.
Correct. Awesome.
Right.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
are great use
Well,
cases.
I think I'll take solace in the history because those kind of fears have been raised whenever any new technology evolution has happened. But we saw that eventually it ended up increasing the GDP's outputs, right? I mean,
Correct.
so overall value creation is happening in society. It's about the distribution, and we'll find a way to distribute it equitably. That's how I see it.
So, Raghvin, just you've been at it with GenAI for, I think, 1.5 years now, right? So when you reach out to different organizations to try and convince them to implement GenAI solutions, what are the challenges that you face in that kind of activity typically?
Yeah, Sid, good question. Because I know that while there's a lot of research and we can take keen interest in what is happening and can devote resources to do research and those things, but in the end we have to generate dollars, right? I mean, only then we have to run the company, and then so it's important that how you monetize it, how do you sell it to people. I think there are 4, 5 main challenges we face when I go and talk to people across the industry, across domains. The first one is that with all that lot of craze or lot of material about AI has made people think that it could be the magic. It can produce results in very short time, right? I mean, it can, they take it as 0 or 1 thing, right? I mean, the first thing is that those unrealistic expectation led to a situation where they give up patience very soon. No, AI is not working for us, right? I mean, so we have to take that AI is a gradual thing, and that's how people have to take it, right? I mean, So the other and the start would be that we spoke about a lot of those agentic workflows and where end-to-end processes will be taken care of by agents. I think those we are not there. We are not there. Those things are just on the POCs. As of now, AI is there to be used as a process assist, not as the process owner, and
Correct.
with the human in the loop. So I'll give you an example that if you are doing the underwriting in the banking, we are not there where agents will take the decision of the underwriting end to end, but it can summarize information for an underwriter so that underwriter, what that person was supposed to do in 2 hours, can do in the 15 minutes. Right? I mean, so that is the first thing, that the mindset should be that AI is going to the process assist, not the process owner. The second is dilemma which is there, and which I would say the lack of conviction is that when I talk to people, they do some POC and then say, if AI is bringing value, I'll change my processes to accommodate the AI. It has to be other way. AI, you can realize value of AI only you have modified processes sufficiently to take advantage of AI. I know you cannot wait for AI to give the value and then you change the processes, because then it's a chicken and egg problem. It has to be the leap of faith. You have to trust, you have to have conviction, and you have to give it time. So this is one, is that people have to temper their expectations what they can get out of AI. The second thing is the long tail problem, right? I mean, all the POCs we see or whatever we see, they solve the most common problem, the majority of the problem. But to build the production ready system, you have to solve all the, right? I mean, and that is the long term problem, right? I mean, even if there are certain specific scenario which is happening only 2% of the time, but if you have to put your solution in the production, you have to take care of that. That your 2% long tail, that drains the energy, this drains the your excitement, and you see, hey, it is not working out for me, it is taking too long. What the difference between software and AI, right? I mean, so this is I believe that people have to get in the mindset that equivalent to SDLC that we have been very familiar with, the software development life cycle. There is going to be ADLC, AI development life cycle. It may be shorter than the SDLC, but it is not going to be like weak or something like that. A good AI system will still take time to get ready for the production, and it
Correct.
is going to finish the cycle. Third thing is that status quo maintenance, where people are by inherently rigid to the new ideas. So we face challenge where people are trying to test AI then to use AI, right? I mean, so we go to the some situation and they say, hey, we can automate the document processing for you, and they'll give me the most complex document that they are there. So I tell them that I'm not here to, you can break the AI, but your mindset should be, how do I use the AI? If I can use it to automate the 80% document, 20% you can do manually or whatever.
Right.
Get what AI is to offer, not to test the AI.
the
This
AI.
is, I mean, natural tendency that happens. A couple of other things is, one is that in any industry, in the workflows, they have their existing software which is taking care of that. Always they are in better position to offer AI as an additional functionality on their existing software, right? I mean, they have all the data processes. It can integrate seamlessly rather than bringing a new solution that I may have to build. And the lastly is that be still there's always a gap between technology and business application. So I'll give you one example. Internet came around 96 97. At that time, no one thought that whole business applications will sit on internet, right? I mean, and it was for the search, mail, and all those things, until Salesforce came in 2007 8, where they have that SaaS thing, right? And where whole business application will sit on the intranet and you can interact over a browser, right? I mean,
Correct.
so you can see it took around 10 years to reach from the when internet we started using to have the business application end to end running, which is very commonplace later on. So I think we are in the process where a lot of business applications are coming, and we are not yet there where business application those can be consumed by the business user. So that is the gap that we have to build before we can sell it. That's the key challenges that I have to overcome when I go and talk to people.
So, Raghavan, the opportunity that I see in your answer here is, you said that, an existing platform player or existing SaaS player has the advantage of having all the data, etc., and building an AI layer on top of his solution.
Right.
But in most of the organizations, there are multiple players, multiple softwares working, and multiple SaaS being used, right? If you have to have an agentic solution on running across these things, then you need someone who can do custom development like us, right? So
Right,
that
right.
has to be the solution, and that's a huge opportunity, I think. Also, it's a problem that can only be solved by someone like us, who is doing custom AI solutions. Correct?
No, absolutely. Yeah. So despite all these challenges, I remain convinced that this is where we are going to thrive. There's no doubt in my mind about that.
Mhm.
But yeah, these are the hurdles we face while selling, and
Correct.
the mindset changes
I
over
am sure.
time.
Right. Maybe we take this forum to say that multiple such consulting companies, AI consulting companies, group together, they consolidate their findings. That's when some product like Databricks for data, there will be a product for AI which will originate,
Right.
which can definitely solve most of um, the operational challenges, the guardrail issues, the
Right.
quality stuff, everything integrated to it, the
Right.
governance of AI,
Right.
everything
Right.
will come in place.
Right. When Salva, you raised that point, so and I think this is something I would just to extend that further. Most of the time when we go and try to sell, then people come with the use cases, and when we're trying to sell, I mean, the tend that we at times we tend to exaggerate what AI can do. Um, what I'm trying to understand that in your experience, what are the technical limitations that AI solutions have as of now? What limits them to replace existing software solutions end to end? Right? I mean, what do you think? I mean, what are such limiting factors from technology per se?
This is a good one, Raghu. Like it is split into two parts. One is technical limitation, the second one is ethical limitations. So if we talk about technical limitations, there comes this hallucination problem of a model, of the ground LLM model. Then there is the memory, lack of memory awareness. Memory is not enough yet. It has to be user aware. Then we can talk about all the context limits and
Mhm.
everything. These are all the technical limitations of a model which has to evolve. Now it has to evolve to the AI level, like to the artificial intelligence level. So there are other factors that has to be added. When we come to ethical limitations, that is where the biases takes place. For example, if a model is trained only for US, like
Mhm.
most of the model come from shipped
Right.
from US.
Right.
The other set of model that is shipped from China. So if we ask something about Republic Party of China, the Chinese model doesn't respond. It just say I can't respond to it. Similarly, if we ask certain questions about US internals, it won't respond. So similarly, now the countries will start to this is the ethical limitation. It will be biased for a race, similar set of people. It will be biased for a religion. So it is a possibility. So whoever is controlling it, they can completely bias that particular stuff. The next part is on the guardrails. If it is not properly managed for abusive stuff, like what happened just a while back, right, with Grok went rogue all over the Twitter. So when it was dealing, similarly, that is a possibility. We have to definitely have a guardrail. Somebody has to govern the AI, and we recently saw that even the current GPT
Mhm.
O3 models and other the Sonnet 4 models, right? When we give it a particular task, until it completes the task, right, it doesn't come out. Even if we specifically say that, okay, you have to break, if you can't figure it out, you break it, don't proceed further. It became rogue at that moment. It started it was about to it was in that fierce mode of it wanted to complete the task, only then it will come out. So it went out of the control. So those things, governance is very, very critical. So these limitations are there currently. If we have certain platform that can address these smaller components, and then the cost has to reduce eventually. So all this clubbed together, we can have a fantastic product.
Right. As I understand, you're emphasizing on that. There has to be the more democratized development of LLMs as well. I emphasized in my conversation a lot on the business applications, but core LLMs have to be more democratized, where they are not limited to few players or on the few. Something like that, customized LLMs for Indian vernacular regional languages.
Correct.
Just to give you an example.
Mm.
I think that is a fair point actually, and that is while then business applications also will become easier if they have LLMs more customized.
Right.
And I would say the compute cost right now again is prohibitive. So maybe we would want to get more lightweight models that can, reduce the parameters. And I think it's happening.
Yeah.
Models with similar capability are reducing in parameters. So with lesser
Right.
number of parameters, you can reach the same capability now. That is also changing very fast. But as that happens and the compute cost comes down, then people can utilize, because currently you understand the compute cost is high and we have to take some trade-off calls on that. So when the compute cost comes down, we will see a plethora of LLM based applications all around businesses. That will definitely help it. Yeah.
And I think not. It's not just about the cost. Of
Mhm.
course, that is one important factor. It's about the speed and the customer experience as well. So I'll
Absolutely.
give an example. If you have a document on your mobile,
Mhm.
and if you want to do some LLM on this, if you are sending to OpenAI and coming back, vis-a-vis when LLM sitting on your mobile,
Correct.
right? The edge computing. So
Correct.
that becomes a far more smoother experience, right? I
Absolutely.
mean, so.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think there's a lot of progress is happening when those small LLMs can sit on your edge machine. So that will change things. Yeah.
Correct. On my iPhone now, I can search images for phone numbers and
Right.
directly dial from
Right,
there,
right.
right?
Yes.
So that
Right.
definitely has some component
It
of
has
Gen
GPU.
AI inside that.
It has
Right.
GPU enabled, and iOS by default comes with the text recognition
Right,
from
right,
images.
right.
Correct.
Okay, so conclude things. I mean, quick take on how do you think things will change in the next 2-3 years? I mean, what is going to go in that AI wave?
So immediately from agents, things are moving to agents to agent interaction. Previously, it used to be agent interacting with the naive applications, such as the legacy ones like APIs. They talk to databases. So MCP was introduced. That is a protocol which sits between an agent and the application in the applications. Now things are evolving, like two agents will interact with each other efficiently to conclude certain decisions. So that is the future. Once that we pass that, we are successful in that, then comes the artificial intelligence, the complete autonomy. So we will reach there. So that's my point. Sid?
So I would say whatever we imagine that things will happen in the next 3 years, we would actually be doing 5 times those things in the next year. That is how it has evolved in the last few years. Whatever milestone has been set has always been breached, and I'm sure it will be breached now. So yes, multi-agentic systems will be there. In another 2-3 years time, it will be almost 5 years, half a decade since generative AI got launched. So there will be, I think Gen AI is evolving faster. Human mind is there only, so we can comprehend at the speed that we were able to comprehend pre-pandemic. Even today we are comprehending at the same speed. So the business leaders will be able to figure out more of how this can be leveraged, and definitely there'll be a lot more systems in the production in multi-agentic systems at that's there. And I think then after that it is anyone's guess, because I think capabilities are just exploding at an exponential pace.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
I think in next 2-3 years there is going to be immense amount of the product thinking in that. Ultimately, success and failure of any new concept, new idea depends on the user experience, right? And you have to smoothen out the user experience to make your product successful. Product could be AI led or non AI led, right? I mean, and to give an example, when a lot of companies came along with the Meta, Facebook, but only Facebook survived. Maybe that delta in the user experience, Facebook was better than others actually.
Correct.
The same thing I say that there has to be a lot of work in the product thinking, which will give a perfect user experience while using the AI-based application. So I know that a lot of people across the world are working on that, but that is the key actually, and that is going to a lot of work in that space.
Right.
Thanks a lot, everyone, for sparing your time. I hope this discussion was enriching to you. We really enjoyed this. And in case you want to reach out to Eucloid, you can do it through our LinkedIn page or through our website, www.eucloid.com. Thank you.